Welcome to guided meditation number 8, entitled Letting Go, Releasing What We Carry. Let's begin by settling into a position that supports the body, seated or lying down. Allow your eyes to close and let the hands rest open, palms up or down, wherever they naturally fall. Take a slow breath in and release it fully, letting the exhale be longer than the inhale, like setting something down that you've been holding all day. We carry things without realizing it, old arguments that we replay, decisions that we second guess, tension we hold in the shoulders for hours or even days. Some is years old. Most of us never chose to pick it up. It simply attached itself as we moved through our days, the way birds attach to a coat in tall grass. This practice is simply an invitation to notice what you're carrying and see what you're ready to set down. You won't be ready for everything. Some things are still doing their work, and some are not ready to leave. That's fine. Letting go is not an eviction, it's an open door, and things leave through it at their own pace. Something very important to consider before we begin: letting go is not the same as giving up. Giving up entails abandoning what matters. Letting go releases only the gripping, the clenched, repetitive holding that was never actually helping. What matters to you will still matter. It will simply weigh less. And notice that no one else can tell you what to release today. This is your own inventory, which you'll take privately. I'll offer places to look, but you decide what, if anything, you're willing to loosen your hold on. You're free to keep everything you're carrying, and the practice will still work. Let's begin by considering the body, because the body holds our burdens in the most honest way, as actual physical tension. Scan slowly from your scalp down to your feet, noticing anywhere that feels gripped, braced, or tight. Some common hiding places for tension are the small muscles around the eyes, or the hinge of the jaw, the tops of the shoulders up near the ears, the hands, the belly holding itself in without reason, the backs of the legs ready to go somewhere even while you rest. Visit each of these briefly, just noticing what you find. Now, with each exhale, imagine that tension has permission to loosen, even slightly. You're not forcing it, just inviting it, the way a clenched fist might slowly, naturally, begin to open when it's finally safe to do so. Work with one area at a time if you like. Breathe in, noticing the gripping. Breathe out, and let it soften by 10%. Not all the way, just 10%. Let it go goes easier in small, honest steps rather than in great demands. Another exhale, another 10%. The jaw unclenching, the shoulders relaxing, the hands giving up their invisible tools. Notice that much of this tension has been entirely unnecessary for hours. The shoulders weren't lifting anything, the jaw wasn't chewing, the belly wasn't bracing for impact. The body has simply been holding a posture of readiness for a threat that has never materialized. There is no blame in this. It is what bodies do in busy lives. But it does mean you can set down a great deal of what you're carrying without any loss whatsoever. Let the next few exhales be genuinely surrendering ones, not doing anything, just ceasing to do something you have been doing without knowing it. Notice how quickly the body accepts the invitation when you offer it without force. It has been waiting for you to ask. Nothing you have released so far required any strength, only permission. Remember that because the same will be true of nearly everything else we have to set down today. Now it's time to bring to mind things you've been mentally rehearsing, conversations, worries, plans you keep returning to uninvited. It's usually near the surface. Often it arrives before you finish asking. Notice it without diving back into the story. See it as if from a step away, not the contents of the worry, but the shape of it, how often it visits, how it starts, what it feels like in the body when it arrives, the small clench, the leaning forward, the tightening behind the breastbone. Ask yourself gently, is this thought helping me right now? Is it important? It may well be important, but is rehearsing it again in this minute doing anything that the previous 50 rehearsals did not? If not, you can silently say, I see you, and I'm setting you down for now. You can pick this back up later if you need to, and you can. That's the honest part. The list of your responsibilities will survive half an hour without you patrolling it continually. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about recognizing that carrying them constantly, every waking minute, isn't the same as solving them. You solve a problem by thinking about it at the right time, with a clear mind, almost never by grinding in the background rehearsal that only wears one down. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do for a problem is put it down for a while and return to it as someone rested. Imagine if it helps, setting this weight into a container, a box with a good lid, a river that will hold it midstream, or perhaps a pair of open hands larger than your own, trusting it will still be there, unharmed, whenever you genuinely need to return to it. If the worry creeps back in the next few minutes, it may. Worries are persistent commuters. You don't need to fight it. Just notice, you again, and set it down again as gently as you did the first time. Each setting down is a repetition of the skill. The 10th is worth as much as the first. It can help to notice what the mind believes it's doing when it rehearses. Usually, the belief is protective. If I keep this in view, nothing will catch me off guard. It is well meaning guard working overtime as opposed to everyone left long ago. You can think it, honestly. I know you're trying to keep me safe, and then relieve it for the evening. Guards do go home once you tell them they may. Notice whether anything in the body changes when the rehearsing stops, even briefly. Often the breath deepens on its own. Often something behind the eyes lets go. That change is the real evidence, the body reporting back truthfully that the load was heavier than we admitted. If you're rehearsing more than one thing, and often we are, you don't have to sort them out. Set down whichever one is the loudest and see where the others go quiet on their own. They frequently do. Much of what feels like 10 problems is simply one tired mind holding a single knot in 10 different places. Now, let's consider a deeper layer. Beneath today's worries, we often carry older things, a grudge that years of handling have worn smooth, a regret we've memorized, an image of how life should have gone by now. You don't need to excavate anything today, but if one of these older weights is already present, you can acknowledge it the same way. I see you. I've carried you a long way. Notice too that some old weights stay not because we can't release them, but because they've become familiar, baggage we've carried so long that our posture is formed around it. Even the first loosening of the grip counts. Even considering that you could someday set it down counts. Even doors that have stayed shut for years can open slowly. And here is a gentle truth the practice offers. You have already let go of more than you know. You've released every stage of your life so far to make room for the next one. You are, in fact, experienced at this, a lifelong practitioner of letting go, just usually without noticing it. Now then, take a moment and think of something that once occupied you completely. Maybe a worry from 5 years ago, or an argument that felt enormous, perhaps an outcome you were certain you couldn't live without. Notice where it is now. You simply outgrew it. The way you outgrow a coat, still real, but no longer worn. Whatever is heavy today will likely join that pile in time. You don't have to fully believe that right now. You only have to notice it has happened before, many times, and that the evidence for it is your entire life so far. There is one more thing worth setting down, and for many of us, it's the heaviest of all. It's the belief that you should be further along by now. Most people carry that one so constantly that they never notice its weight. See if you can put it down for the rest of this practice, not forever, just for now, and feel what the body does with the extra space. Take note of how the body feels now compared to when we began. Perhaps notably lighter, perhaps only a little. Even a small difference is worth acknowledging. It's a glimpse of the difference between carrying and resting. Rest here in this lighter space for a while. Nothing to hold, nothing to fix, nothing to rehearse. Each exhale can keep releasing whatever it finds effortlessly now, like a tide going out on its own schedule. Also, notice that resting is not the same as being empty. What remains when the gripping stops is not nothing. It's you, unburdened, still capable, still caring, still entirely yourself, just no longer clenched around any of it. This is what you're like underneath. It's worth knowing by feel so that you can recognize it again. If the mind reaches for something to carry, and it will, simply notice the reaching, smile inwardly, and settle back into empty handedness for a few more breaths. Stay for a little longer in this. Nothing arriving needs picking up. Nothing already here needs defending. Let the breath keep doing quietly what it has always done, taking in only what it needs and giving all of it back. In closing, gently begin to return. Feel the support beneath you, which held everything the whole time, whether or not you were also gripping. When you rise from this practice, some of what you set down may try to climb back on. Some of it belongs to you and will need carrying. That's an honest part of a human life. But carry it in the way you practice here, consciously, with breaks, the grip loose, the shoulders soft. Carry it well, and even a real burden weighs less. Know that you can do a short version of this anywhere in about 10 seconds. Notice the shoulders, the jaw, what the mind is rehearsing, and let one long exhale release 10% of all three. Do it a few times a day, and that small habit prevents more accumulation than any single long practice ever could. Be patient with whatever stays behind. Some weights leave only after you carry them in the open for a long time, noticing them daily and resenting them a little less each week. If you're still holding something at the end of this practice, that isn't a failure of the practice. It's simply news about where you are, and knowing where you are is how anyone ever moves. Now take one fuller breath in and then all the way out. When you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, carrying only what's truly yours to carry today, and holding even that lightly. May your hands be open and your load be honest, and your steps be lighter for what you've left behind. Thank you for practicing with me.